At the engagement ceremony, my phone buzzed. It was a paid video link from an unknown account. Price: 888 yuan. Below it was a line of small text. A surprise from your wife. My heart sank. A nameless fury surged through me. But even stronger was an absurd premonition. I entered my payment password. The video began buffering. 1 second. 2 seconds. The screen lit up. I stopped breathing. In a dim hotel room, a woman was straddling a man. Their movements were fierce. I know that face even if it turned to ash. It was Liu Ruyan, the woman I was about to marry. And I knew the man beneath her. Ito Makoto, the man she'd always kept in her heart, her unattainable first love, whose contact she refused to delete. In that instant, my blood seemed to freeze. The world fell utterly silent. Only my ragged breathing remained. I didn't smash a wall, nor did I lose my mind on the spot. I calmly saved the video, then projected it onto the big screen behind me. A wedding gift, bought for 888 yuan. Please, enjoy it with me. At first, our relatives and friends thought it was lovers teasing each other, but within 10 seconds, the whole room was stunned. My mother-in-law was the first to rise. Zixuan, have you lost your mind? What the hell did you put on? My mother-in-law's shriek rang through the hall. It nearly ruptured my eardrums. I looked at her. My voice was as still as dead water. I posted that video. Couldn't you see it clearly? You bastard. Why would you forge a video like this to slander Ryan? How has she ever wronged you? Even now, the Liu family was still deceiving themselves and everyone else. Whether it is fake or not, you know perfectly well, or you can ask her right now. My mother-in-law wanted to say more, but my father stopped her. Zixuan, what are you doing? Turn that off. Whatever it is, why can't you discuss it privately? Why make a scene here? Dad, my dignity was trampled at my own engagement party. Is saving face more important than your son's dignity? Liu Ruyan, who'd been resting backstage, heard the commotion too. She rushed into the hall, her hair disheveled. Tears streaked her face. Wang Zixuan, what was that insane stunt? That video is fake. It is an AI face swap. Wang Zixuan, are you trying to destroy me? My mother-in-law held her, then pointed in my face and cursed. Everyone, look. Wang Zixuan just wants to call off the wedding. That is why he used AI face swapping to frame my Ryan. My Ryan has such a miserable fate. I watched their ugly performance coldly. I said nothing. Instead, I took a backup phone from my pocket. I opened a cloud storage link. An AI face swap, is it? I projected my phone screen again. It showed photos I had just recovered from Liu Ryan's phone cloud storage. Every single one was an intimate photo of her and Ito Makoto, from college to the most recent one last week. There was even one outside the hotel from the video. I thoughtfully opened the photo details too. The time and location were crystal clear. Ms. Liu, were these photos on your phone generated by AI too? Liu Ryan's sobs stopped abruptly. She stared fixedly at my phone screen. The color in her face visibly drained away. She turned white as paper. There's more. These are your hotel booking records with Ito Makoto, 23 times in the past year. Do you want me to read them aloud? January 23rd, 5:30 to 7 in the afternoon. Changnan Boutique Hotel, couple suite. Enough? Liu Ruyan swayed, then collapsed to the floor. In an instant, my in-laws' curses fell silent. They stared at their daughter in disbelief, then looked at me. The guests raised their phones and eagerly watched the drama unfold. What else is there to say? Get out. Just then, my phone screen lit up. A text message from Ito Makoto. It read like an arrogant declaration of war. Apparently, he had not realized this was only the beginning. I deleted the message, as if nothing had happened. That night, I sat at my computer and wrote a simple script. I took that 888 yuan video, blurred the explicit parts, and added Ito Makoto's arrogant words. Thanks for paying the bride price. I edited it into a 15-second clip. That clip, along with Liu Ruyan and Ito Makoto's hotel record screenshots, was uploaded to hundreds of local community forums, gossip groups, and short video platforms. I used none of my own information. Every IP address went through layers of proxies leading overseas. I also paid several promotional accounts 1,000 yuan, aiming the backlash directly at the companies where Liu Ruyan and Ito Makoto worked. Some group's public relations manager caught cheating on her husband. Tangshan Group executive caught fooling around with a married woman, with money pushing them. Both topics began gaining traction. At first, they spread only within a small circle, but soon a gossip blogger with 10 million followers reposted it. The video instantly went viral. Once the snowball of public opinion starts rolling, there is no stopping it. Liu Ruyan's social media accounts were exposed. Those serene photos she had posted before had become a complete joke. Under Ito Makoto's company's official account, thousands of questions and taunts flooded in. Does your company management not even know how to manage its own staff? Does the money people pay for your products just fund hotel rooms for people like this? Major corporations care most about their brand image. Negative publicity is lethal poison, just as expected. At At 9 the next morning, Ito Makoto's company's official website issued a termination statement. Its language was icy. It washed its hands of him completely. The career Ito Makoto had been so proud of had cast him aside without mercy. But this was only the beginning. Because of this, Liu Ruyan lost her job too. She lost her future husband and her reputation. Perhaps she could not bear it any longer. Late that night, she called me. On the other end of the line, I heard the broken sobs of someone who'd held it in too long. Zixuan, I'm begging you, please forgive me. I was wrong. I'll be your servant. I'll do anything you ask. Just forgive me. I listened quietly. Between her sobs, I clearly heard another woman's impatient voice in the background. Look at the mess you've made. Now look what happened. The cash machine is gone. And so is the house we almost had. It was Liu Ruyan's mother. Without saying a word, I hung up. Then I blocked every way Liu Ruyan could contact me. I almost forgot. Liu Ruyan and I still own an apartment together. To avoid second home restrictions, I used Liu Ruyan's first home buyer status. But I had paid the lion's share for the apartment. Now they were trying to take advantage of me. How could I let them have their way? I immediately called the real estate agent and told him to sell our marital home. The sooner it's sold, the better. Not until the next morning did her name appear in my WeChat friend request. She had clearly realized I had deleted her. But when I returned to my parents' home, I found her already waiting inside. Her parents had come with her. Liu Ruyan's eyes were red-rimmed, with tear tracks still wet on her face. The moment she saw me, she rushed over. Zixuan, why did you delete me on WeChat? You blocked me. I couldn't reach you. I was terrified. I looked at her without expression, as if she were a stranger. Mrs. Liu restrained her agitated daughter and glared at me in displeasure. It was the same old argument. She said I ignored calls and disappeared. All because I wanted to break up over something trivial. Why are we breaking up? Don't you know why yourselves? Was the video not clear enough? Do I need to show it to you again? Liu Ruyan's face instantly turned deathly pale. She grabbed my arm, desperately explaining, it's not what you think. I can explain. I only had a little to drink that day. I never expected. I looked at her coldly. I mean it. We're through. There is nothing left for us to say. Only some property matters remain to be settled. I looked at Liu Ruyan, speaking each word with absolute clarity. The marital home we bought together must be dealt with. I've already listed it with an agent. The moment I mentioned the apartment, Liu Ruyan and her mother went completely pale. That apartment was the last chain binding us together. It was also the last thing they had left to rely on. Bought with their entire savings. No. Why should the apartment be sold? The deed is in Ryan's name. Our family paid 300,000 yuan toward the down payment too. What does it have to do with you? Liu Ruyan tightened her grip on my hand, crying as she said, Zixuan, you can't do this to me. That is our home. We promised we'd get married there and spend our lives there. Have you forgotten? I calmly pulled my hand away. Home, a place where you could casually abandon me for another man. Is that supposed to be a home? I turned to Mrs. Liu, my gaze icy and piercing. Mrs. Liu, you're right. Liu Ruyan is the only name on the deed. When we bought the apartment, to avoid the second home restrictions, I already had my parents' old house under my name. So we used her first home buyer status. I trusted her, which is why I agreed to put only her name on the deed. But of the 1.2 million yuan down payment, your family paid 300,000 yuan, and I paid 900,000 yuan. 700,000 was my savings from recent years, and 200,000 was from my parents. Every transfer record, every bank statement, I kept them all. Mrs. Liu's arrogance immediately deflated. I ignored her and continued. Besides the down payment, the mortgage was 12,000 yuan a month for the past 2 years. I paid every installment myself. I also paid all 500,000 yuan for the renovations. I have solid proof of all of it. Now that we're breaking up, Liu Ruyan can keep the apartment, but she must repay every yuan I paid with interest, without a single cent missing. That includes the 900,000 yuan down payment, 288,000 yuan in 24 mortgage payments, and 500,000 yuan in renovation cost. That comes to 1.688 million yuan. The room fell deathly silent. Liu Ruyan and her mother stared at me, dumbfounded, as if they had never known me. I shook my head. In their eyes, I had always been the man who obeyed Liu Ruyan in everything. Her utterly devoted lapdog of a boyfriend. They thought invoking our 7 years together, shedding a few tears, and making a scene would surely make me soften and give in. But they never expected me to be so calm this time, so resolute, even calculating every last cent. Zixuan, you're heartless. Our Ruyan gave you the best 7 years of her life. How can you be so calculating toward her? Mrs. Liu, let's be reasonable. If I had cheated today, you would make sure I got nothing, wouldn't you? So, why is it, when your daughter is at fault, that I become heartless? That I'm taking advantage of her? Was that really a mistake? She was only helping a friend. You're making a mountain out of a molehill. I nodded. I no longer argued over right and wrong. In that case, there's even less to discuss. Let's part on good terms. We settle every account. 1 million. 688,000 yuan. Either repay me, and the apartment is yours, or agree to sell it, and divide the proceeds according to our contributions. Liu Ruyan finally recovered from her shock. She shook her head, tears streaming down her face. Zixuan, I don't have the money. How could I possibly have that much money to give you? Don't treat me like this. Can we not break up? I truly was wrong. We can hold another engagement party. Please, give me one more chance. Her sobs sounded especially pitiful. In the past, I would have already pulled her into my arms, aching for her. But now, my heart was hard as stone. If you have no money, sell the apartment. No, we can't sell the apartment. It's Ryan's marital home. Marital home? I gave a derisive laugh. She's not even marrying me anymore. Why keep a marital home? Are you saving it for Ito Makoto to move into? Liu Ruyan's face turned deathly pale again. She screamed through her tears. Zixuan, how can you say that about me? In your heart, is that really the kind of person I am? My father, silent until now, finally spoke. He rose and walked over to Liu Ruyan and her mother. His voice was steady, but carried unquestionable authority. Ladies, my son has made himself very clear. Our family does not want this to turn ugly, but we will not suffer losses for nothing. This apartment represents both our family's hard work. Since they cannot be together anymore, we divide it according to each side's contribution. That is only fair. If you agree, we can sit down and discuss it properly. If not, then we'll settle this in court. That would benefit no one. My father's words completely shattered Mrs. Liu's last psychological defense. She knew our family was serious, and we held all the evidence. They would certainly lose if this went to court. Then they would not get a single cent. They might even have to pay out of pocket. Though Mrs. Liu was deeply unwilling, she had no choice. She could only nod in agreement. Liu Ruyan stared at me blankly, her eyes full of disbelief. She had probably never imagined that the man she had always known as gentle could have such a cold, ruthless side. But it was all too late. From the moment she chose to abandon me at our engagement party and run to Ito Makoto, there was no going back. Not long afterward, a newlywed couple bought the apartment. After giving Liu Ruyan her 300,000 yuan from the sale proceeds, there was still plenty left. It became my capital for a fresh start. After spending a full year at construction sites, I had learned a great deal about the renovation and building materials industry. I had also met reliable suppliers and construction crews. Perhaps now I could turn that knowledge into my own career. Through an introduction from a close friend, I met President Zhao of Hongyuan Group. He was looking for a renovation team. He had approached several design firms but liked none of them. But my proposal caught his attention. President Zhao said he wanted to open a separate renovation subsidiary and asked me to join him as its general manager. I accepted. Over the following days, I threw myself into preparing the new company, registering the company, leasing office space, and hiring staff. Everything began from scratch. 2 weeks later, Hongyuan Zhujia officially opened. Our office was in an upscale business tower. The decor was simple yet stylish, with the designer's touch in every detail. On opening day, President Zhao came personally to cut the ribbon. He also invited many business associates and media reporters. The event was held in grand fashion. As the subsidiary's general manager, I took the stage to speak. At that moment, I was no longer a man who, for love, had humbled himself into the dust. I was an entrepreneur in charge of my own career and future. But just as the opening ceremony ended, an unwelcome guest suddenly appeared. It was Liu Ruyan. She was dead drunk. A heavy stench of alcohol clung to her. Her hair was a total mess. The instant she saw me, her eyes reddened. Zixuan, I finally found you. She lunged toward me, trying to embrace me, but I sidestepped her. She missed me entirely and crashed hard onto the floor. Why won't you reply to my messages? Why won't you answer my calls? She lay on the floor, crying and shouting, drawing everyone's attention. President Zhao looked at me with a frown. My scalp prickled at once. Was this woman trying to humiliate me completely? With clear displeasure, President Zhao asked me, "Who is this?" All I could do was answer helplessly, "My ex-girlfriend." I crouched down to help Liu Ruyan up, but Liu Ruyan flung my hand away. She clutched my pant leg desperately, crying so hard she could barely breathe. "Zixuan, please don't leave me. I truly know I was wrong. I can't live without you." In that state, she looked like a bitter woman cast aside by her husband. The people around us whispered even more. Seeing that I remained unmoved, Liu Ruyan immediately changed tactics. Pointing at me, she tearfully pleaded to the crowd, "Look, this is the man. For another woman, he threw away our 7-year relationship. Not only did he sell our marital home, he threw me out as well. He's a heartless bastard who abandoned the woman who loved him." Liu Ruyan's words were like a bomb, exploding in the hall. Every eye turned toward me. filled with contempt and condemnation. President Zhao's expression turned grim. What happened at the engagement party was known only to our mutual friends, and they only had scattered chat records. Liu Ruyan dared to say this because she had counted on no one there, believing those baseless conversations. She was miserable herself, so she wanted to ruin my reputation today and make me suffer too. I trembled with rage. It felt as though a boulder were crushing my chest. I had seen shameless people before, but never anyone this shameless. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to calm down. I looked at Liu Ruyan, sprawled on the floor and making a scene. Liu Ruyan, are you sure you want to lay everything out here? My voice was quiet, but it carried a bone-chilling coldness. Liu Ruyan froze beneath my stare. Her sobs gradually quieted, though she was still cursing me under her breath. I nodded, took out my phone, and opened a video. It was footage from a security camera I'd installed in the living room of the home we'd bought for our wedding. I had installed it to prevent theft and to check the renovation progress. I had originally deleted the footage, but before selling the apartment, on an inexplicable impulse, I backed up several clips. I connected my phone to the hall's large screen. Since my ex says I'm the one who betrayed her, I'll let everyone see who the real betrayer is. The video began to play. The first clip showed Liu Ruyan and Ito Makoto sitting on the living room sofa. Ruyan, are you really going to marry Wang Zixuan? He's so dull. He doesn't deserve you at all. I have no choice. He treats me well, and we've been together for so many years. We even bought a home for after the wedding. He treats you well. That's only material support. Your soul is lonely. Only I understand you. As he spoke, Ito Makoto took Liu Ruyan's hand. Liu Ruyan did not pull away. Instead, she leaned against his shoulder. Cheng, sometimes I really want to forget everything and run away with you, then reject his proposal. Isn't the deed to the apartment in your name? Sweet talk him some more. Get him to give you control over the apartment too. Then dump him. The two of us can be together openly. The hall instantly fell silent. Everyone stared at the screen in stunned disbelief, then turned to look at Liu Ruyan on the floor. Liu Ruyan's face instantly turned ashen. I did not stop. I played the second video. It was the night before our engagement party. A last-minute problem with the project had sent me to the office to work late. In the video, Ito Makoto pushed the door open and walked in. He embraced and kissed Liu Ruyan on the sofa. His hands even began to wander. Liu Ruyan seemed to resist half-heartedly, but her body eagerly pressed against Ito Makoto. Ito Makoto kissed her more deeply. A loba swept through the hall. Then the hall erupted into an uproar. The looks of contempt once aimed at me had all become scorn and disgust for Liu Ruyan. Liu Ruyan was completely stunned. She stared blankly at my phone, her mouth wide enough to fit an egg. Yet no sound came out. She probably never dreamed that her most private and ugly side would be exposed to the public this way. I turned off the video. I looked down at Liu Ruyan from above. Do you still think I'm the one who betrayed you? She pointed at me, trembling with rage. You were spying on me. You're a pervert. If I hadn't been such a pervert, would I have had to walk into marriage wearing the mark of betrayal you gave me, then use the money I earned to support you and your precious male best friend? Liu Ruyan was left speechless. All she could do was whimper hopelessly on the floor. I ignored her and turned to address everyone in the hall. Members of the press, I know you want a story. No problem. I'll give you one. I took out my phone and sent the security footage and recorded chat logs to every reporter present via Bluetooth. I had already thought of the headlines. For example, the night before the wedding, the bride and her male best friend's soulful connection, or male best friend of the year, sleeps with your wife, then thanks you for your generosity. The reporters went wild. One by one, they lowered their heads to their phones, their faces full of excitement and shock. Liu Ruyan glared at me as she trembled with rage. I looked at her coldly and called over the venue's security guards. The guards hauled Liu Ruyan away, utterly humiliating her, and carried her out of the office building. At last, the farce came to an end. I turned and bowed to all the guests to express my apologies. The guests did not criticize me. Instead, they responded with a warm round of applause. Yet I felt no joy at all. Tearing open my deepest wounds for all to see was a form of self-harm. But to break free from Liu Ruyan completely, it was all worth it. After that, I never heard from Liu Ruyan again. The next time I heard news of Liu Ruyan was 6 months later. By then, orders at my company had suddenly surged. President Zhao was in an exceptionally good mood, and his appreciation for me grew by the day. He even went out of his way to introduce me to his daughter, Zhao Qingya. Our relationship progressed smoothly, but the day before I planned to propose, I received a call from the police. Hello, may I speak with Mr. Wang Zixuan? We're calling from the Changxi police station. Your ex-girlfriend, Liu Ruyan, fell from the roof of the apartment complex where you used to live. She's currently receiving emergency treatment at the hospital. She left a suicide note, accusing you of driving her to her death. The moment I received the call, my mind went completely blank. Liu Ruyan had actually jumped from a building. She had even left a note calling me the murderer who drove her to it. Absurdity and shock, along with a trace of complicated, indescribable emotions, filled my heart in an instant. No, officer, have you made a mistake? We broke up a long time ago. What does her jumping have to do with me? Mr. Wang, we're only notifying you according to procedure. Your name is written in the suicide note. We need you to come in and assist with the investigation. After hanging up, I immediately called President Zhao. I briefly explained the situation. President Zhao told me not to panic. He said he would immediately arrange for the company's legal counsel to accompany me. Half an hour later, the company's lawyer, Mr. Song, and I met outside Chengxi police station. When I entered the station, a solemn atmosphere washed over me. Liu Ruyan's parents were there, along with Ito Makoto. The moment Liu Ruyan's mother saw me, she lunged at me like a madwoman. She clawed and beat me, shouting curses at me and calling me a murderer. 2 officers hurried over and pulled her away. Liu Ruyan's father had bloodshot eyes and glared at me without blinking. Ito Makoto stood off to the side, his face deathly pale, his eyes darting away as he avoided my gaze. An officer led me into an interview room. Mr. Song followed me inside. The officer slid a printed document across the table toward me. It was Liu Ruyan's suicide note. I picked up the paper, my hand trembling slightly despite myself. It read, "To my beloved Zixuan, when you read this letter, I will already have left this world. Forgive me for proving my love for you this way. I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have become entangled with Ito Makoto. I shouldn't have planned to run away from the engagement party with him. And I especially shouldn't have said those hurtful things to you. But I truly did love you. All those little moments over 7 years. Have you really forgotten them all? I thought that as long as I came back, you would always be waiting for me where I left you. I never expected you to be so heartless. You sold our home, humiliated me in front of everyone, and drove me to the brink. Now your company is thriving, and you've become the successful boss everyone envies. You must have a younger, prettier woman by your side now. Did you want to get rid of me all along? The engagement party was only an excuse you had planned in advance. Zixuan, you really are so heartless. I'm leaving, taking all my love and disappointment with me. I curse you with my life. May you live in guilt for the rest of your life and never find happiness. Love, Ryan." After reading the letter, I trembled with rage. What a vile suicide note, twisting truth into lies. What a vicious curse. Even in death, she had to smear my name, branding me the man who drove his ex-girlfriend to death. Mr. Wang, regarding the contents of this suicide note, what do you have to say? The officer's expression was grave. I answered coldly, no, it's all lies. I did not drive her to her death. She brought this upon herself. I told them everything about Liu Ruyan and me, from our relationship to our breakup, including her entanglement with Ito Makoto, and how she caused trouble at my company. I laid out every detail. Attorney Song added, "Officer, my client and Ms. Liu Ruyan have no legal relationship whatsoever. Ms. Liu Ruyan was an adult with full legal capacity. Ending her life was her own decision. My client should not bear responsibility for the consequences. This suicide note is filled with subjective assumptions and emotional accusations. It cannot be used as evidence that my client was at fault." The officer nodded and carefully took notes. Then the officer looked up and asked about Ito Makoto. I froze for a moment. That's right. Where was Ito Makoto? Hadn't Liu Ruyan gotten what she wanted and ended up with him? When she jumped, where was Ito Makoto? The officer stood and left the room. Attorney Song and I waited in the interview room. About 20 minutes later, the officer returned. Something was off about his expression. He said the matter might be more complicated than we thought. The police had reviewed the complex's surveillance footage. Liu Ruyan had taken a taxi there alone. She went straight to the top floor and remained on the rooftop for about an hour. She was on the phone the entire time. After checking her call records, they found that her last call was to Ito Makoto. The call had lasted a full 40 minutes. My heart sank. Her last call had actually been to Ito Makoto. What could they have talked about? The officer looked at me and slowly explained. Liu Ruyan was pregnant. She wanted Ito Makoto to take responsibility. But Ito Makoto was a shiftless lowlife to begin with. He did nothing all day and had even lost his job over the earlier scandal. He had no ability to shoulder that responsibility. So he wanted to shake off Liu Ruyan. But Liu Ruyan threatened him with suicide if Ito Makoto refused to be with her. She said she would jump from the building. Ito Makoto thought Liu Ruyan was only bluffing. So he said some deliberately cruel things to provoke her. What did he say? I pressed urgently. The officer sighed and said, Ito Makoto said, jump or don't. I don't care. It would be better if you died. So, you'd stop bothering me. Do you really think I like you? I was only playing with you. You're just so easy to fool. That idiot Wang Zixuan doesn't want you. What makes you think I'd take you off his hands? Stop dreaming. After saying that, Liu Ruyan hung up. Less than a minute after ending the call, she jumped. After hearing this, I went completely rigid. The final straw that broke Liu Ruyan's spirit wasn't me. but the male best friend she had always trusted. What bitter irony. I didn't know whether to pity her or despise her. Attorney Song sharply caught the key point. Officer, Ito Makoto's actions may constitute negligent homicide. The officer nodded. We are investigating that angle. If it is confirmed, he will face the appropriate legal consequences. When I left the interview room, I saw Ito Makoto, slumped like a limp rag, being dragged from another room by two officers. His face was ashen, his eyes hollow. He kept muttering that he wasn't a murderer. Liu Ruyan's parents heard the news too. They immediately rushed at Ito Makoto, hitting him and screaming abuse. The police station instantly descended into chaos. I stood apart from the crowd, watching it all with cold detachment. A farce born of betrayal and deception had ended with one person's death and another's imprisonment. 2 days later, news came from the hospital. Liu Ruyan's injuries were severe. She died despite emergency treatment. Ito Makoto, suspected of negligent homicide, was formally placed under criminal detention. The incident also caused an uproar online. On the day my company opened, the reports released by the journalists had already publicly ruined Liu Ruyan and Ito Makoto once before. Now Liu Ruyan had jumped from a building, and Ito Makoto had been arrested. It set the entire internet ablaze with debate. Public opinion split into several camps. Some said I was too cruel, that I had driven my ex-girlfriend into a corner, and that I was a cyberbully. Others said Liu Ruyan had brought it on herself and deserved no sympathy. Others pointed the finger at Ito Makoto, saying he was the real culprit. He had toyed with her feelings and effectively incited her suicide. For a time, everyone had something to say. Hongyuan Group's public relations department reacted swiftly. They immediately released a statement. The statement clarified that Liu Ruyan and I had broken up long ago. It also stressed that Liu Ruyan's suicide was a tragedy caused by many factors. It urged the public to view the matter rationally. President Zhao personally called me to, telling me not to let outside opinions affect me. Zhao Qingya was even more concerned about me. She moved straight into my home to take care of my daily life. But inwardly, I was very calm. After everything I've been through, I no longer wanted to dwell on the past. People can say whatever they want. Let them talk as they please. I had done nothing wrong, so I had nothing to fear. After all, my life had already begun a new chapter. Zhao Qingya and I set our wedding for 6 months later. On our wedding day, the streets were decorated with lanterns and colorful banners, overflowing with celebration. I wore traditional bright red wedding robes. Amid thunderous drums and gongs, and the blessings of family and friends, I went to greet my bride. Zhao Qingya wore an ornate phoenix crown and crimson bridal robes. She was flawlessly beautiful. Looking at her radiant smile, I felt a happiness and peace unlike anything I'd ever known. At last, I had found someone who could walk beside me, my soulmate for life. On our wedding night, Zhao Qingya leaned against my shoulder and whispered, "Actually, the first time we met wasn't at the celebration banquet." She asked if I remembered the young couple who came to view the home we'd bought for our wedding. When I was selling our marital home, a flash of realization struck me. That day, there really was a young couple who seemed deeply in love and liked the house very much. And that young woman, I stared at her in disbelief. Zhao Qingya smiled and nodded. Back then, to view the house, she and her driver had posed as a young couple. When she first learned from the realtor that I was selling the house because my fiancé had betrayed me, she began to feel something special toward me. There was sympathy, but even more curiosity. So later, at the celebration banquet, when President Zhao introduced us, Zhao Qingya wasn't surprised at all. She even felt it was fate. As I listened to her story, my heart was already in turmoil. It turned out our bond had begun so long ago. I wanted to hold her so close she'd become part of me. Thank you, Qingya. Thank you for seeing my light when I had fallen to my lowest point. Thank you for healing all my wounds with your love.